All right, welcome back, guys. Sorry, I ran out of time on the last video, so we have to create a part 2 where we go backwards. This time I'm going to be giving you guys the line, and you have to tell me the equation. Now, I know that you guys might be thinking I'm taking way too much time on these videos, but without me being there, I want to make sure you guys are getting lots of examples and lots of explanation so that you don't feel lost. This is a pretty major concept for math. So when writing the equation of the line, I pretty much follow the same steps I did when drawing the line. I'm still going to start 1 with my intercept, and this is not going to look very well. I'm just going to write int, and then 2, I will find the slope of my line, which we learned how to do last week. All right, so I know that my equation is in function form, so I know it's in y equals. I'm going to have my slope being multiplied to my x, and then I'm going to have my y-intercept being added to the x. So again, I'm going to start with my y-intercept. So I come over here to my graph, and I see that my line is crossing at 0. So I'm just going to go ahead, and for the purpose of this example, I'm going to write plus 0. And now I need to find my slope. So for my slope, I am going to start counting. So I'm going to start at 0, right where it crosses this line here, where it crosses the origin. And I'm going to count until I get to another point where my line crosses an intersection. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3. So I know my numerator is -3 because the rise, or in this time the fall, goes on top, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was a +4 because I was going to the right. So my slope is -3/4. Let's double check that by going the opposite direction. So here I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3. So in that situation, it would be a +3 because I'm going up, but I'm counting back 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could have written the equation as y equals +3 over -4 x plus 0. They are the same thing. Now, the plus 0 is not necessary because you could really say you're adding 0 to anything. So we can get rid of the plus zeros and just say that our equation is y equals, oops, forgot the x there, y equals -3/4 x. Okay, let's do another example. All right, so again, I know it's in function form. Slope-intercept is y equals, I need my slope times my input, my x, and I'm going to add the y-intercept. So let me just add some letters here. This is going to be our m. This is going to be our b. I always start with my y-intercept. So here I see that my graph is crossing the y-axis at 2. Put a 2. And then I have to find my slope. So I'm going to count from this intersection to another. So I can see that I go up 1. So my numerator is 1. Because I'm going up, it's positive, and I'm going to go to the right 1. So 1/1, which could also be just written as 1. Okay, I could go the other way and count back 1, so -1, and then down 1 would be another -1. But -1 over -1 would be a +1. Now, one thing I do want to draw your attention to, which actually messes up a lot of students, is to make sure you're checking your scale. If my graph is not going at a scale of 1, then I have to make sure that when I count up, I'm counting by their scale. So for example, if my y-axis had a scale of 2, which it doesn't because the 4 is on the 4, but if it did, when I count, I have to make sure I go 2, 4, 6. Otherwise, my slope is going to be off. Okay, another example. Again, I know y is going to equal my slope times my x. I'm going to add in my y-intercept. So here I see that my graph is crossing my y-axis at -1, so that's what I'm going to add. And I'm going to find my slope. So I'm going to count up 1. So my numerator is 1. And I'm going to count to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So since that was up and this is to the right, I know I have a positive slope. So the equation for this line is 1/4 x plus 1. Okay, this example is a horizontal line. So actually the slope of this line is 0. So I'm just going to write m equals 0. And my y-intercept is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how I would write this is y equals 0, x plus 4. But we know that 0 times anything is 0, so it is actually just y equals 4. If you're wondering how I knew the slope was 0, it's because I don't have to count up at all to get to my next number. So that means my numerator would be 0, because I had to count up 0, and then I had to count to the right 1. So 0 divided by 1 is 0. And you guys have seen equations that look like this before. And just in case you were wondering, this is a function. Okay, here's another example. So I know I'm going to have my my slope. So I'm going to find my m. So here I have to count up 1 to get to the next spot. So that's my numerator. But I have to count 0 over. So it would be 1 over 0. If you guys try to plug this in your calculator, you're going to get a 0 error, I think is what it says. So what that means is that we can't do this. We can't take one item and divide it into 0 groups. It's impossible. So that means our slope is something we call undefined. It cannot be defined. It is impossible. Sorry about the handwriting. I'm using my keyboard. Okay, so since there's no slope, we actually just talk about the fact that it's everywhere where x equals negative 4. So if you look at no matter what spot I pick, this is negative 4, and this is 1. Up here, I've got negative 4 and 5. This one is not a function. All right, so then here it asks us to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. So first of all, we're going to write the equation of the line. So I've got y equals slope times x plus my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 1. My slope, I count up 1, so there's my numerator. And then I count over 1, 2. So this is the equation of the line. Now it asks us to draw another line that is parallel. And parallel means it's never going to touch. So I'm going to do my best here to draw a parallel line. Now, there are multiple parallel lines we could draw here, but I'm going to go ahead and draw this one. And it says, what do you notice? Well, in order for us to notice something, we do have to write the equation. So I got my y equals slope times x plus y-intercept. So my y-intercept is negative 1. That is different than this one. My slope, I'm going to count up 1 and over 2. Now, if we had more time, I would have you guys graph multiple parallel lines here and write multiple equations. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to help you guys with the what do you notice, that when it's a parallel line, the slopes have to be the same because it has to be rising and running at the same rate for them to never touch. So slopes, same. However, the y-intercepts are different. If they weren't, you would have the exact same line. This is important. I know I'm briefly talking about it, but you can come back and watch this again if you need to. This will be on the assessment. Then it asks us to draw a perpendicular line, which is going to be easier said than done here. Let's see if I can do it. Looks pretty close to a right angle to me. It may not be exact. So let's write our equation. So I've got y. Oh, I'm running out of time. I only got 30 seconds. Times x plus b. My b is 2, so my y-intercept is different, and my slope this time I'm going to count down 2 and to the right 1. So it's negative 2 over 1. Again, I would love for you guys to do this multiple times and create a discovery on your own. But when it's perpendicular, your slope is the opposite reciprocal. Hope this helps.